That night was so quiet that even the wind seemed to be whispering secrets that no one could hear. I had just finished a long shift at the diner where I worked part-time. I was tired and numb from another day of pretending everything in my life was fine, but the truth was that everything felt empty. I carried a hole in my chest that I had grown used to over the years because my father had disappeared when I was 16. There were no notes or calls. One day he was there. The next day he was gone. My mum did her best to keep things together by raising me alone by working extra hours at the hospital and trying not to break under the weight of everything he left behind. I stopped asking about him when I was 18 because it hurt too much. He became a ghost. I tried not to think about it until the night he came back. It was a little after 3:30 a.m. The house was still, and I was asleep on the couch, wrapped in a blanket and watching old reruns. The TV was buzzing low in the background. I was in a state between sleep and wakefulness when I heard the knock. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but it happened again. 3 soft knocks, deliberate and slow. I sat up, heart thudding in my chest. Who knocks at 3 o'clock in the morning? I glanced toward the window. The porch light flickered slightly, and I could make out the shape of someone standing there. My first instinct was fear. I grabbed my phone debating whether to call the police, but something in me, some strange gut-deep feeling made me get up and walk toward the door when I opened it. I froze my breath, caught in my throat, there standing under the porch light, in a soaking wet jacket looking years older and far more fragile than I remembered was my father. "Madison," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "It's me, it's Dad." For a moment I couldn't speak, I couldn't move. I just stared at him like he was some ghost resurrected from my past. His eyes, once sharp and confident, now looked tired and haunted. He had a scruffy beard, sunken cheeks, and hands that trembled slightly as he held them out in some form of peace offering. What are you doing here?" I finally whispered, "I didn't know where else to go." He said, "I needed to see you." Every part of me wanted to slam the door in his face to protect myself from whatever storm he brought with him, but I didn't. Instead, I stood back and let him in. Before my brain could catch up, his body moved. He walked into the living room slowly, looking around as if it held memories he had long tried to forget. I noticed how he looked at the pictures on the wall, especially the one of me and my mum from my high school graduation. He took a deep breath and turned to face me. "I know I don't deserve to be here," he added, "but I'm sick, Maddie. I don't have a lot of time and I needed to talk to you before it's too late." Sick? What kind of sick? 100 questions ran through my mind, but I couldn't ask any of them yet. I just stood there with my arms crossed and a million feelings crashing against each other in my chest. "I probably should go," he said in a low voice. "I just wanted to see you once more." I don't know what happened to me, but I shook my head and told him he could stay the night. I got him a blanket and some dry clothes that my ex-boyfriend had left behind and pointed him toward the couch. I didn't say much because I didn't have the words, but deep down, a tiny, fragile part of me wanted to believe that this man was still my dad. The next morning, I woke up to find a letter on the kitchen table. It was written in the same careful handwriting I remembered from when he used to leave notes in my lunchbox. It was long and full of apologies and truths I hadn't expected. He told me that he had been diagnosed with a degenerative neurological disorder 5 years earlier, not long before he disappeared. The doctors told him it could cause memory loss, confusion, and even aggression. He panicked and thought leaving was the only way to protect us because he didn't want us to see him get worse. Reading those words made something click inside me. When I walked into the living room and saw him sitting there with his head in his hands, I wanted to scream at him to ask why he didn't trust us and let us make that choice together. But I couldn't. Instead, I sat down across from him and asked, "Why now?" He looked up with red eyes because I'm getting worse. The doctors say there might be a treatment that could slow it down, but I need a family member to agree to the program, and your mum won't talk to me. I could feel the anger building up. He left, he abandoned us, and now he needed something. But then I thought about what it meant to really lose someone. What if this was my only chance to understand what happened, to get answers, maybe even to forgive? I'll help you, I said slowly, but not because you deserve it. I need to know if you're still the man who used to sing to me before bedtime, if there's anything left of that person. For the next few weeks, he stayed with me while going through the experimental treatment program. Some days were good. He was alert and even funny. He remembered old jokes and stories from his childhood, and we watched baseball together like we used to. But some days were bad. He'd lose his way, call me by the wrong name, and cry over a picture of my mum. One night he woke up screaming, and I ran to the living room to find him sitting up straight and mumbling something about fire and shadows. I sat with him until he calmed down, and he held my hand like he used to when I was a child, his grip shaking. "I'm scared, Maddie," he whispered. "I don't want to forget you." "You won't," I said, even though I wasn't sure it was true. Then came the morning I woke up and he was gone. No warning, no note. His things were gone and the house was silent. I panicked, called the hospital, even filed a report. But weeks passed and there was no trace of him. It felt like losing him all over again. Then, on a quiet afternoon, about 2 months later, I received a package in the mail. No return address inside was a photo of the two of us. Him in his hospital robe. Me laughing at something he'd said tucked inside was a USB drive. I plugged it in and found a single video file. I opened it, hands shaking. He was sitting on a park bench, bundled in a coat. His face thinner, but still holding that quiet strength. I remembered, "Hey, kiddo," he said, smiling weakly. "If you're watching this, it means I had to go. I didn't want to leave like this, but I couldn't let you watch me disappear, piece by piece. I want you to remember me as I was during those good weeks. I want you to remember that I love you, that I'm proud of you, that I never stopped thinking about you." He paused, his eyes glassy with tears. "You gave me something I never thought I'd have again, a second chance. Thank you for letting me back in, even if only for a little while." The screen faded to black. I sat there for hours crying. Not because he left, but because he came back when I needed him most, even if I didn't know it at the time. Even though he broke my heart, he gave me something I didn't realize I was still missing. Closure, peace, maybe even healing.